Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something from the very bottom of my heart. How many times have you started something with fire in your soul, but quit when it got too hard? Maybe it was a dream, a business, a goal to lose weight, a relationship, or a vision for your life. You started excited, you started hungry, but when the storms came, when the nights got long, when people didn't believe in you, when you didn't even believe in yourself, you stopped. I know that feeling. I know what it's like to want something so badly, but to sabotage it by giving up too soon. I know what it's like to doubt yourself, to look in the mirror and ask, do I really have what it takes? But let me tell you something tonight. Consistency is the bridge between your dream and your destiny. It's not the talent. It's not the resources. It's not the luck. It's not the connections. The one who wins is the one who stays. The one who shows up even when it hurts. The one who stays consistent when everything inside of them says, quit. And today, I want to take you on a journey, not just a speech, but a journey into your soul. Because this staying consistent, it is not just about what you do. It is about who you become. The power of showing up, there is a secret to success that most people overlook. It is not the secret of being the most talented or the most gifted or even the most intelligent. It is not about having the right timing or the perfect plan. The real secret, my friends, is something far simpler, far more powerful, and yet so easily ignored. It is the power of showing up. Every dream that has ever been fulfilled, every mountain that has ever been climbed, every breakthrough that has ever been achieved, it all began because someone made a decision to keep showing up. Now, showing up doesn't mean you have everything figured out. Showing up doesn't mean you're the strongest in the room or the smartest in the class. Showing up doesn't mean you feel like it every day. No, showing up means that you are willing to be present even when it hurts, even when you're tired, even when you're afraid. It means you're willing to say, I may not know everything right now, but I will be here. I will try again. I will stay consistent. And when you do that, something extraordinary begins to happen. You see, success is not built on one grand moment of brilliance. It's not built on one lucky break. Success is built on the tiny, almost invisible choices we make day after day. Imagine putting $1 into a jar every single day. At first, it looks like nothing. It feels like nothing. But over time, those dollars add up. They grow. They multiply. And one day, you look back and realize that the small actions you almost ignored have created a future you could only dream of. Showing up works the exact same way. Every day you show up, you are making a deposit into the account of your destiny. But here's the tragedy. Most people quit before the harvest. They start something with excitement, with fire in their soul. But when the days get heavy, when the results don't come fast enough, when people doubt them, they stop showing up. They dig up the seed before it has a chance to grow. They abandon the journey right before the breakthrough. My friend, let me tell you something. The seed you plant today does not become a tree tomorrow. You must give it time. You must water it. You must protect it. And you must keep showing up to nurture it, even when there is no sign of growth. That is where greatness lies, in the unseen consistency of the everyday. I remember once talking to a man who said, Luz, I tried to lose weight, but it didn't work. I asked him, well, what did you do? He said, I went to the gym for 2 weeks, and I didn't see any change. I said, 2 weeks? You mean to tell me you gave years of bad habits, 2 weeks of effort, and expected a miracle? No, my friend, you don't go to the gym to get in shape. You go to the gym to stay in shape. You go to build a habit, a rhythm, a lifestyle. The change doesn't come in 2 weeks. It comes in 2 years. It comes in 20 years. It comes when you decide that no matter what, you are going to show up. That is the power of showing up. It is the invisible hand that moves you forward when nothing else seems to work. And here's the beautiful truth. You don't need to be extraordinary to show up. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need the courage to keep walking when others sit down. You just need the discipline to keep climbing when others turn back. You just need the heart to keep trying when the world tells you it's useless. And here's the reward. When you show up consistently, something inside you changes. You begin to build trust with yourself. You begin to prove to yourself that you can depend on you. You stop being a prisoner of excuses and start becoming a person of action. People may doubt you, critics may laugh at you, but when you keep showing up, even your doubts begin to get quiet, because evidence beats excuses every single time. Every day you show up, you are collecting evidence of your strength, your persistence, your greatness. So let me ask you right now, what dream have you abandoned because it didn't happen fast enough? What goal have you left behind because you got tired of waiting? What part of your life have you stopped showing up for? Whatever it is, I want you to know this. It is not over. Your story is not finished. You don't need to start with a miracle. You don't need to start with perfection. You just need to start by showing up again today, and then tomorrow, and then the next day, until consistency itself transforms you. Because the truth is, simply, greatness is not owned by the talented. It is not reserved for the lucky. It is not handed to the chosen few. Greatness belongs to the ones who stay, the ones who endure, the ones who, no matter how many times they fall, no matter how long it takes, they keep showing up. So, my friend, if you remember nothing else, remember this. You don't have to be the best to win. You just have to stay in the game long enough. And the way you do that is by showing up. Consistency builds trust in yourself. One of the most painful feelings in life is not when other people let you down. It's when you let yourself down. It's when you look in the mirror and know deep down inside that you didn't keep your word to yourself. And here's the truth: when you quit on yourself, you break your own trust. And trust, my friends, is the foundation of confidence. People think confidence is about being loud or bold or pretending you have it all together. No, real confidence comes from one thing: knowing deep in your heart that you can depend on you. But how can you believe in yourself if you keep breaking promises to yourself? How can you trust your own word if every time it gets hard, you back out? Think about it. If you had a friend who promised you over and over again that they would show up for you, but they never did, would you trust that friend? Of course not. You would stop relying on them. And yet, every day, there are people who treat themselves worse than they would treat a stranger. They set goals, they make promises, but when the discomfort shows up, when life gets hard, they walk away. And little by little, they chip away at their own belief. Consistency is the way you rebuild that trust. Every single time you keep going when you could have quit, you are telling yourself, I can depend on me. That right there is the most powerful confidence you can ever build. Not confidence built on applause, not confidence built on likes or validation, not confidence built on people praising you, but confidence built on the quiet, unshakable truth that you keep your own word. That's real power. I remember speaking to a young man once who told me, Mr. Brown, I don't believe in myself. I said, do you know why? Because you keep abandoning yourself. You keep saying you'll change, but you don't. You keep promising you'll be disciplined, but you stop. You keep telling yourself you'll rise early, you'll write that book, you'll make that call, but you don't. And every time you break your own word, you tell your soul, I can't trust me. The young man looked down, tears in his eyes, and I told him, son, the way back is simple, one kept promise at a time. Start small, but be faithful. Because when you keep your word to yourself, even in the smallest things, your confidence will rise like the sun after a long night. You see, confidence doesn't come from standing on a stage. It doesn't come from shouting about your dreams. It doesn't come from reading a motivational quote. Confidence is built in the quiet moments when nobody is watching. It's built when you get up at 5 in the morning and do what you said you would do. It's built when you turn down distractions and focus on the work. It's built when you keep going, even though you feel like stopping. That's when confidence begins to whisper to you, I can count on me. I am reliable. I am trustworthy. And here's the thing, when you build trust in yourself, the world begins to trust you too. People are drawn to those who are consistent. Employers trust workers who show up on time, not the ones with excuses. Clients trust businesses that deliver every time, not just when it's convenient. Friends trust those who keep their word, not those who are hot and cold. Everything in life is built on trust, and the first trust you must build is with yourself. But let me tell you why so many people fail. They wait for confidence before they take action. They wait to feel strong, to feel ready, to feel capable, but it doesn't work that way. Confidence does not come first. Consistency comes first. You act, you show up, you keep your word, and slowly that builds belief. You don't feel confident and then act. You act, and that action builds confidence. And I want you to hear me. This is not about perfection. You will fall. You will fall. You will stumble. You will make mistakes. But if you fall 7 times, get up 8. If you stumble, take another step. If you break your word yesterday, start again today. Because every time you get up and try again, you're teaching yourself, I may not be perfect, but I'm dependable. I may struggle, but I don't quit. I may fall, but I rise again. And when you live like that, you create a confidence that no storm can take away. So the next time you think about quitting, I want you to ask yourself, do I want to keep living in self-doubt? Or do I want to start building trust with myself? Do I want to keep breaking promises to me? Or do I want to prove once and for all that I can rely on me? The choice is yours. Consistency is not glamorous. It is not always fun, but it is the path to freedom. Because when you trust yourself, you don't need the world to clap for you. You don't need permission to believe. You don't need external motivation. You become your own foundation, your own strength, your own source of confidence. And that, my friends, is priceless. So remember this, confidence isn't about being fearless. Confidence is about being faithful. It's about being faithful to the promises you make to yourself. And the only way to build that kind of faith is through consistency. Because at the end of the day, the most important person you need to trust in this world is the one looking back at you in the mirror. The struggle is proof you're growing. If consistency were easy, everybody would be living their dream. Everybody would be successful. Everybody would be walking in the fullness of their potential. But the truth is, consistency is hard. And it's supposed to be hard because the struggle is the price of progress. Resistance is not a sign you're failing. It is the evidence that you are growing. Every time you feel the weight pressing against you, every time you feel the heat of challenge rising, that is the very moment life is shaping you, stretching you, and preparing you for the next level. Think about this when you go to the gym. The only way your muscles grow is through resistance. You lift a weight, and your muscles actually tear under the pressure. It is painful. It is uncomfortable. But after that tearing, the muscle heals stronger, bigger, and more capable. Without resistance, there is no growth. And the same thing is true for your dreams. Every obstacle you face, every mountain you climb, every struggle you endure is not sent to destroy you, but to develop you. The resistance you are feeling is the very thing that is strengthening the dream inside of you. But here's what most people get wrong. They resent the struggle. They run from it. They say, if it's hard, maybe it's not meant for me. No, my friend, the struggle is not a sign to quit. The struggle is the sign you are on the right path. If it's hard, it means you are growing. If it's uncomfortable, it means you are stretching. If it hurts, it means something in you is being reborn. Don't resent the struggle. Respect it. Because every moment of struggle is proof that you are in the process of becoming who you were meant to be. I remember years ago, I was preparing for a speech that terrified me. The stage was bigger than anything I had ever stood on, the audience larger than any I had ever faced. I was nervous. I was doubting myself. I thought about walking away. But in that moment, I reminded myself, the fear I was feeling wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a sign that I was growing. If it scared me, it meant I was stretching beyond my limits. And I'll never forget the feeling of walking off that stage afterward, realizing that the struggle of preparation, the struggle of fear, had made me stronger. more confident, more capable. That stage became a new foundation, and from then on, no stage could intimidate me the same way again. The struggle was proof of growth. Struggle is a teacher. It will teach you more about yourself than comfort ever will. Comfort whispers, stay where you are, you're safe here. But struggle shouts, there's more in you. You can go further, you can become greater. Comfort wants to keep you the same, but struggle wants to transform you. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who avoid struggle. They are the ones who embrace it, who endure it, who learn from it, and who come out stronger because of it. And let me be clear, struggle doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's the lonely nights when you're working while others sleep. Sometimes it's the mornings when you drag yourself out of bed. Not because you feel like it, but because you made a promise to yourself. Sometimes it's the rejection letter, the failed attempt, the disappointment that tempts you to give up. But if you stay the course, if you keep moving, if you endure, those struggles become stepping stones. They become the foundation upon which your future is built. I want you to think for a moment about a butterfly. Before it can fly, it is trapped inside a cocoon. And in order to break free, it must struggle, pushing and fighting its way out. That struggle looks painful, it looks unnecessary, but it is exactly what the butterfly needs. Because if you cut the cocoon open and release the butterfly without the struggle, its wings will not be strong enough to fly. It is the very struggle of pushing out of the cocoon that forces blood into its wings, giving it the strength to soar. Without the struggle, there is no flight. And the same is true for you. Without the struggle, you will never discover how high you can fly. So don't curse the resistance. Don't despise the hard days. Don't let the pain convince you to quit. See the struggle for what it really is, proof that you are growing, evidence that you are moving forward, confirmation that you are not the same person you were yesterday. Every tear, every setback, every trial is adding strength to your wings. And one day, you will look back and thank the struggle. You will say, it was hard, but it made me stronger. It hurt, but it taught me who I am. It tried to break me, but it built me instead. That is the gift of struggle. So the next time life gets tough, the next time you feel the weight of resistance, I want you to remind yourself of this truth. The struggle is not your enemy. The struggle is your proof. Proof that you are in motion. Proof that you are being stretched. Proof that you are alive, growing, becoming. Proof that the dream inside of you is still worth fighting for, because the struggle is not where your story ends. The struggle is the bridge to your breakthrough. And if you endure it, if you respect it, if you trust it, you will rise stronger, wiser, and ready to fly higher than you ever imagined. The myth of motivation is beautiful. Motivation is powerful. It can light a fire in your soul, make you believe again, and fill you with energy in a moment of despair. But let's be honest, motivation is also temporary. It is a spark, not a flame. It can get you started, but it will not keep you. Too many people are addicted to the feeling of being motivated. They watch a video, they hear a speech, they read a quote, and for a few minutes their heart is racing, their spirit is lifted, and they say, I can do it. But then the sun sets, the feeling fades, and when they wake up the next morning with no spark, they stop. They confuse motivation with momentum, and that is why their dreams never come to life. The truth is, motivation is unreliable. You cannot build a future on something that comes and goes. If you only move when you feel motivated, you will never finish anything, because feelings are fragile. Feelings change with the weather. One bad day, one harsh word, one setback, and your motivation will vanish like smoke in the wind. That is why you cannot build your life on motivation. You must build it on discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. Discipline is not always exciting. Discipline does not always feel good, but discipline is the foundation of greatness. Discipline is the muscle that pushes you forward when the excitement is gone. Discipline is the voice inside you that says, I don't feel like it, but I will do it anyway. Discipline is love for your future self. It is saying, I will endure this discomfort today so that I can live in freedom tomorrow. Motivation says, I feel like it right now, so I'll do it. Discipline says, whether I feel like it or not, I will do it because I made a promise to myself. Think about this: waves come and go. They rise, they fall, they crash, and then they disappear. That is motivation. But the ocean is steady, deep, unshakable. That is discipline. Motivation is the wave. Discipline is the ocean. And if you want to go the distance, if you want to create something lasting, you cannot surf the wave of motivation. You must dive into the ocean of discipline. I remember a woman who once told me, Les, I start strong every time. I get excited, I feel ready, I'm on fire, but after a week it fades. I lose interest. I lose the drive. And I told her, that's because you are chasing motivation instead of building discipline. Discipline doesn't care if you're excited. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired. Discipline shows up. Discipline is what carries you when motivation leaves you empty. She nodded, tears in her eyes, because deep down she knew the truth. She wasn't failing because she was weak. She was failing because she was relying on the wrong fuel. And here's something I need you to hear: discipline is not a punishment. Too often people hear the word discipline, and they think of something harsh, something negative, something restrictive. But discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. Discipline says, because I control myself, I am not controlled by circumstances. Because I keep my promises, I am not a slave to my moods. Motivation may inspire you for a day, but discipline will transform you for a lifetime. The greatest athletes in the world don't train every day because they're motivated. They train because they're disciplined. Writers don't finish books because they're motivated. They finish because they're disciplined. Leaders don't change the world because they always feel like it. They change the world because they are disciplined enough to act, regardless of how they feel. So I want to ask you, how many times have you started something only to stop the moment the feeling left? How many dreams have you abandoned because the motivation wore off? How many goals are still waiting on you because you confused inspiration with discipline? Let me tell you something. You will never feel motivated every day. That is the truth. But you can be disciplined every day. That is the choice. Discipline is built the same way a muscle is built: repetition, resistance, consistency. Every time you push yourself to act when you don't feel like it, you are building the muscle of discipline. And that muscle will carry you further than any motivational high ever could. You cannot depend on feelings. You must depend on habits. You must depend on discipline. Because discipline will always take you where motivation cannot. And one day, you will look back and thank yourself for choosing discipline over motivation. You will say, it was hard, but I kept going. It wasn't always exciting, but I stayed faithful. I didn't wait for the feeling. I created the habit. That is when you will realize the truth. Motivation may start the race, but discipline is what crosses the finish line. So remember this: don't chase motivation, build discipline. Because motivation is a visitor, it comes and goes. But discipline is a resident. It stays, it abides, it transforms. And when you live a disciplined life, you no longer depend on sparks to light your fire. You become the fire. Consistency turns ordinary into extraordinary. Greatness is not born in a single moment. It is not a spark that suddenly appears and transforms a life overnight. No, greatness is carved slowly, patiently through repetition. It is molded in the quiet hours when no one is watching, in the discipline of daily acts that seem small, unimportant, almost invisible. Consistency is what takes the ordinary and turns it into the extraordinary. Think about it. A writer doesn't sit down one day and create a masterpiece in a single sitting. That's not how books are born. A book is the result of one page written today, another tomorrow, another the day after that. Over weeks, months, years, those ordinary pages stack up until suddenly the world sees a finished book. But the world applauds the product and forgets the process. They see the book, but not the long nights, not the tired mornings, not the 1,000 small decisions to keep writing when it would have been easier to quit. The same is true for an athlete. Champions are not made in the spotlight. Champions are made in the hours of unseen practice, in the sweat-drenched mornings, in the lonely repetitions when no cameras are rolling. Every shot taken in practice, every sprint run in training, every drill performed with discipline seems ordinary in the moment. But over time, those ordinary acts accumulate into greatness. What looks like overnight success is nothing more than long-term consistency that finally became visible to the world. I want you to understand this. The extraordinary is not built by extraordinary moments, but by ordinary moments multiplied through time. People often wait for inspiration to strike, for the big break, for the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that will change everything. But the truth is, opportunities reveal you. They do not create you. And what they reveal is the consistency, or the lack of it, that has been shaping you all along. The world loves to talk about the fruit, but they never see the roots. They see the glow of success, but not the grind that produced it. They see the trophy on the shelf, but not the hours of practice in empty gyms. They see the stage, the applause, the standing ovations, but they don't see the tears, the doubts, the hundreds of times you had to pick yourself back up. The fruit is public, but the roots are private. The roots are where the extraordinary is born. Let me share this with you. I've met people who told me they were waiting for their big opportunity. They said, Luz, one day the right door is going to open for me, and when it does, I'll be ready. And I tell them, no, you won't be ready when the door opens if you're not consistent right now. You don't prepare when the opportunity comes. You prepare before it comes. You don't build the discipline after the spotlight hits you. You build it when no one is watching. If you can't be faithful in the ordinary, you will never rise to the extraordinary. Think about the farmer who plants seeds. Day after day, he waters the soil, he weeds the field, he protects the ground. For weeks, there is nothing. For months, there is little change. But one day, a sprout appears, and then another, and then the harvest comes. People celebrate the harvest, but they forget the months of ordinary work that produced it. Consistency is farming for your future. You plant, you water, you protect, and in time, the extraordinary comes forth. And here's the beauty of it. When you commit to consistency, you don't just create results, you create character. Because every ordinary act you repeat with faith builds resilience inside you. Every time you push past the boredom, past the fatigue, past the temptation to stop, you are not just doing the act, you are becoming the person. You are transforming yourself into someone extraordinary. So I ask you today, what is the ordinary act you've been neglecting? Because it feels too small. Is it writing 1 page a day? Is it practicing your craft for 1 hour? Is it saving a little money each week? Is it waking up early and starting your day with focus? Those small acts may look like nothing now, but if you stay consistent, they will become the very foundation of greatness. The extraordinary is hidden in the ordinary, but only revealed to those who keep going long enough to see it. When people call someone an overnight success, they are lying. No one is an overnight success. What they really are is an overtime success. They stayed, they worked, they repeated, they endured, and one day the world finally noticed. So never despise the ordinary. Never look down on the small beginnings. Never think your efforts are wasted just because they don't look like much right now. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be consistent, because one day the pages will add up, the practices will pay off, the roots will break through the ground, and what once looked ordinary will shine extraordinary. Consistency is the brush, and your daily actions are the strokes. Keep painting, because one day when you step back, the masterpiece of your life will take everyone's breath away, including your own. Faith in the process. Consistency requires faith. Faith that the work you are doing today matters. Faith that the seeds you're planting in silence, in obscurity, in the dark, will one day break through the soil into the light. Faith that even when there are no immediate results, no applause, no recognition, your effort is not wasted. My friend, this is where most people stumble. They look at the soil day after day. When they don't see anything growing, they give up. They walk away too soon. They forget that growth is not instant. They forget that progress does not always announce itself with fireworks. And so they stop watering the very seed that could have changed their lives. Faith in the process is about believing when there is nothing visible to hold on to. It is about trusting that the effort, the discipline, the sweat, the sacrifice you are making today is doing something in you and for you, even if you cannot see it yet. Results don't always come on your schedule. They don't always show up when you want them to. They show up when the time is right, when the process has matured, when the roots have grown deep enough to sustain the fruit. The harvest never happens in the same season you plant the seed. That is the law of life, the law of growth, the law of consistency, and this is where faith becomes your fuel, because logic will look at your effort and whisper, "Stop. This isn't working. Why keep going? You've done enough." But faith will say, "Keep moving. Your season is coming. The ground is shifting beneath the surface. Something is happening that you cannot yet see." Faith allows you to keep walking when logic says sit down. Faith allows you to stay steady when your emotions scream for you to quit. Think of the bamboo tree. You plant the seed, you water it, you nurture it, and for years, nothing seems to happen. You look at the soil and it looks the same. You water and it looks the same. You care for it and it looks the same. For 5 years, there is no visible progress. But in the 5th year, within weeks, that bamboo shoots up as tall as 90 feet. Now, here's the question. Did it grow 90 feet in 5 weeks, or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? The answer is 5 years, because all along it was growing roots beneath the surface, creating the foundation strong enough to handle its height. If you had given up in year 2, in year 3, or in year 4, you would never have seen the miracle of its growth. That's what faith in the process looks like. It looks like showing up even when you can't see results. It looks like continuing to invest in your dream when no one claps for you. It looks like believing in your own worth when others overlook you. Because the process is not just about the outcome. The process is about shaping you into the person capable of sustaining the outcome. I remember hearing a man once say, "Les, I've been working for months and nothing has changed." And I told him, "Something has changed. You have changed. You're stronger than when you began. You've built more discipline than when you started. You've learned things along the way that you could not have learned without the process. The outcome you want may not be here yet, but you are becoming the kind of person who will not only reach it, but also keep it. That is the hidden work of the process. This is why you must not despise the waiting season. You must not despise the unseen days when your work feels invisible, because those days are not wasted. They are building you, they are training your spirit, they are refining your character, they are deepening your roots. And when your season comes, when your harvest breaks through, it will not be fragile, it will not be temporary. It will be sustainable because you were faithful in the process. So today, I challenge you, do not give up because you don't see progress yet. Don't stop watering your dream. Don't stop nurturing your vision. Don't stop showing up. Because your faith is being tested, and your consistency is the proof of that faith. The results may not be immediate, but they are inevitable if you stay the course. Faith in the process means believing that your time is coming. It means holding on when it's hard, trusting when it's dark, moving forward when it's lonely. Because the process is not punishing you, it is preparing you. And one day, when the time is right, everything you've been working toward will stand tall like that bamboo tree, and people will look at you and say, "Where did they come from? How did they rise so high so fast?" And you'll smile because you'll know the truth, it didn't happen fast. It happened faithfully. Consistency is the antidote to fear. Fear is a voice we all know too well. It's that whisper in the dark that tells you you're not good enough. You don't have what it takes. You'll never finish what you started. And here's the truth. Fear doesn't need facts. It doesn't need evidence. All it needs is inconsistency. Because when you stop and start, when you hesitate, when you break your rhythm, you create the very cracks fear slips into. You give it room to grow. Fear thrives on doubt, and doubt thrives on inconsistency. But here's the good news, my friend: consistency starves fear. Consistency silences the whispers of "you can't" by proving every single day that you can. Every time you show up, you place another stone in the foundation of your confidence. Every time you take action, you gather evidence. And evidence is the enemy of fear, because fear lives in imagination, but consistency lives in reality. Think about a time you were terrified to start something. Maybe it was speaking in public, maybe it was starting a new career, maybe it was going after a dream that seemed impossible. At first, your mind was racing with every what if scenario. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I'm not ready? And then you showed up. You did it once, and suddenly fear's voice wasn't quite as loud. Then you did it again, and it grew even quieter. Over time, consistency became your shield. It wasn't that fear disappeared overnight. It was that you collected so much proof, so much evidence of your strength, that fear no longer had a place to stand. That's why consistency is the antidote to fear, because you can't think your way out of fear. You can't just wish fear away. Fear doesn't respond to thoughts, it responds to proof. And proof only comes through action. Every workout completed, every page written, every sale made, every speech given, every small step you take is a weapon against fear. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who wants to become a runner. On day one, fear tells them, "You're not built for this. You'll quit just like last time." They lace up their shoes and they run a single mile. They come home out of breath, exhausted, and fear whispers, "See, you're weak. You'll never make it," but they'll run again tomorrow and again the next day. After a week, they've run 7 miles in total. Fear begins to hesitate. After a month, 30 miles. Now fear grows quieter. After 6 months, they've run hundreds of miles. Now the evidence is overwhelming. I am a runner. That's not a thought. That's not a hope. That's a fact built by consistency. In fact, crushes fear. Fear hates consistency because consistency removes its leverage. Fear can only taunt you with your failures when you stop. But when you keep going, fear has nothing to hold on to. You are writing a story of persistence that fear cannot rewrite. Every day you act, you are saying to fear, "You don't get to control me. You don't get the final word. My actions speak louder than your whispers." But here's what I've learned: the first steps are always the hardest. Because in the beginning, fear has the loudest voice. That's why most people quit. They mistake the volume of fear for the truth of fear. Just because fear is loud doesn't mean it's right. And the only way to turn down that volume is to drown it out with consistency. You see, confidence isn't built in a single moment of courage. Confidence is built in the repetition of showing up, even when you're scared. You don't eliminate fear by waiting until you feel brave. You eliminate fear by moving forward despite trembling hands and a pounding heart. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is consistency in the presence of fear. So if you feel fear today, don't run from it. Don't let it paralyze you. Let it be the signal that you're stepping into something meaningful. Let it be the reminder that growth is on the other side. And then make a decision. I will show up again tomorrow. You don't have to win every battle in one day. You just have to be consistent enough that over time, fear has no more ammunition. My friend, fear is not your master. Fear is not your destiny. Fear is just a shadow, and shadows disappear when you bring the light of consistency. The more you show up, the brighter you shine, and the smaller fear becomes, until one day you look back and realize fear no longer controls you, because you have built a mountain of evidence that you are capable, that you are strong, that you can finish what you started. So the next time fear whispers, "You can't," let your consistency answer, "Watch me." Consistency creates identity. The greatest gift of consistency is not in what you achieve, but in who you become through the process. Transformation is not just about the trophies, the money, the recognition, or the applause. It is about the shaping of your character, the molding of your habits, and the forging of your identity. When you repeat an action long enough, It doesn't just stay in action, it becomes part of who you are, it becomes your identity. Think about this. At first, you may tell yourself, I'm trying to write. You sit down, pen in hand, struggling through a paragraph, a page, maybe even just a sentence. But then you keep doing it day after day, night after night. No matter how small the progress, you keep showing up. After weeks and months, you are no longer trying to write. You are a writer. The identity shifts. What was once an effort becomes an expression of who you are. The same is true in every area of life. When you consistently make choices that align with discipline, your identity transforms. You are not trying to be healthy. You are healthy. You are not trying to be confident. You are confident. You are not trying to succeed. You are a winner. Because consistency rewires your mind to see yourself in a new light. And once your identity changes, your actions follow naturally. Most people get this backward. They think identity comes first, that they have to feel like a writer before they can write, or feel like an athlete before they can train, or feel like a leader before they can lead. But that's not how it works. Action creates identity, not the other way around. You don't wait until you believe in yourself to act. You act until you believe in yourself. You don't wait until you feel like you're capable. You keep showing up until your reflection proves it to you. Consistency is the bridge between who you are and who you are becoming. Every repeated choice is a vote for your future identity. Each time you show up, you're casting a ballot for the person you want to be. And over time, those votes add up. They shape your story. They transform your self-image. Because identity is not built in a moment of inspiration, it's built in the repetition of discipline. Let me remind you, identity is powerful because it's permanent. When you see yourself as something, it's hard to act against that identity. If you see yourself as someone who keeps promises to yourself, you'll struggle to break them. If you see yourself as a leader, you will naturally step up when opportunities come. If you see yourself as resilient, you will naturally rise after every setback. But if your identity is inconsistent, so will your actions be. This is why consistency matters, because it doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. And who you are is the foundation for everything else. If you see yourself as lazy, you'll act lazy. If you see yourself as disciplined, you'll act disciplined. The outside always follows the inside. Identity is what gives you staying power. Motivation fades. Excitement comes and goes, but identity sticks. When you no longer say, I'm trying, but instead, this is who I am. You don't need to force it anymore. A runner doesn't wake up every day debating whether or not to run. It's simply what they do because it's who they are. A winner doesn't wake up questioning if they should fight for their dream. They fight because that's their nature. Consistency creates identity, and identity sustains consistency. It becomes a cycle of strength. The more consistent you are, the more your identity solidifies. The more your identity solidifies, the more natural consistency becomes. What used to feel like a battle becomes automatic. What used to feel like effort becomes instinct. So if you want to change your life, don't just focus on the results. Focus on the identity you are creating. Ask yourself, who am I becoming through this? Every repetition, every act of discipline, every moment you choose to keep going when it would be easier to quit, you are shaping an identity that no one can take away from you. My friend, this is the real reward of consistency. It's not just the victories you collect, but the person you become along the journey. Because when you transform your identity, success is no longer temporary. Success becomes permanent, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. So the next time you're tempted to quit, remind yourself, every small act is bigger than the result. Every small act is shaping your identity. And one day, you'll look back and realize, you're not just doing the thing anymore. You are the thing. You don't just practice greatness. You are greatness. Because consistency has written it into your identity. Consistency opens the door to destiny at the end of the day. All roads of discipline, struggle, faith, and identity lead to this one truth. Consistency is the path to destiny. Every step you take Every sacrifice you make, every time you choose to keep going instead of quitting, you are positioning yourself for the moment your breakthrough arrives. You may not control the timing. You may not control the season. You may not even control the doors that open, but you control whether or not you are still standing when the opportunity appears. And that is where destinies are written. Life is not about instant victories. Destiny is not about quick results. The greatest callings and the greatest blessings are reserved for those who are willing to endure. Too many people plant seeds and then abandon the field. When the harvest doesn't come overnight, they walk away just before the fruit breaks through the soil. But consistency keeps you in the field. Consistency keeps your hands to the plow. Consistency keeps you faithful long enough for your blessing to find you. Understand this: dreams don't chase the inconsistent. Dreams don't chase the ones who start strong but finish weak. Dreams don't chase the ones who show up only when they feel good. No, dreams chase the ones who stay, the ones who endure, the ones who believe when nothing around them looks promising, the ones who are willing to water their seed even when the ground looks dry. Think about every story of greatness you know. It was never a single act that defined destiny. It was persistence. It was staying in the game when the world said to quit. It was getting up after failure again and again and again. Every champion, every leader, every world changer was forged in the fire of consistency. They did not wait for the perfect time. They did not need applause to validate them. They showed up day after day with the faith that their consistency would one day collide with destiny. And here's the truth: destiny is not random. Destiny is not luck. Destiny is not an accident. Destiny is a reward for those who stay faithful to the process. You may not see how every small act connects. You may not see how every choice to keep going is building something bigger than you. But life is weaving it all together. Every moment you choose consistency, you are building the bridge toward your destiny. Consistency is not glamorous. It doesn't always feel good. There are days it feels like you are invisible, unnoticed, unappreciated. There are days when the results seem non-existent. But destiny doesn't require you to be seen by the world. It requires you to stay true to yourself. It requires you to believe that even in silence, even in obscurity, even when no one is clapping, the work you're doing matters. And when the time is right, destiny has a way of catching up with those who refuse to quit. My friend, your destiny is not ahead of you in some unreachable place. Your destiny is being shaped in the ordinary moments, in the daily disciplines, in the small acts of faithfulness that seem insignificant. The book is written one page at a time. The legacy is built one decision at a time. The breakthrough is prepared one act of consistency at a time. You are not waiting for destiny. You are walking into it step by step, choice by choice, habit by habit. And when the moment finally arrives, when the door opens, when the opportunity presents itself, when the blessing shows up, you will recognize it because you'll be ready. Consistency prepares you for what inconsistency would have caused you to miss. Without consistency, the door may open, but you won't be strong enough to walk through it. With consistency, when that door opens, you step into it with confidence because you have been preparing all along. So hold on, stay the course, keep showing up. Don't let discouragement rob you of what is already written for you. Don't let fear talk you out of your harvest. Don't let impatience pull you away from the field where your blessing is about to grow. Because the truth is simple: your destiny is not denied, only delayed. And consistency is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you are meant to be. Dreams may take time. Breakthroughs may take longer than you expected. But destiny never forgets the consistent. The blessing always finds the faithful. The reward always meets the one who stayed. So when you feel like giving up, remember this: every act of consistency is a knock on the door of your destiny, and one day that door will swing wide open. My friend's life is not one in the big leaps. It's one in the daily steps, the quiet, unseen, unrewarded, unglamorous steps that you take when nobody is watching. That's where greatness is born. Stay consistent. When the nights are long, stay consistent. When the critics laugh, stay consistent. When your own doubts scream, stay consistent. Because if you can be faithful over the little things, life will trust you with the big things. Remember this, success is not owned. It is rented. And the rent is due every single day. So today, make a decision, not just to dream, not just to try, but to stay consistent until your vision becomes your reality. Because yes, you are worth it.